First goal for Manchester United. What a time to get it. What an incredible cross.
Happy New Year, everyone. We are back. I hope you enjoyed your New Year's Eve and New Year's night. And the date, what's the date today? 2nd of Jan. So welcome back. Tonight we are doing, or this afternoon, we're doing from 2013 Manchester United strikers, and somehow ended up with fewer goals every season since, which I sort of disagree with. But yeah, so tonight we're breaking down the strikers list, the goal numbers, and the ownership and recruitment failures that created this cycle. Post-Fergie era, 2013 to present, $1 billion spent, consistent recess, no long-term number 9. How are we, boys? Hope yous are okay, and I hope yous are looking forward to 2026 Leeds this weekend.
It was all good until you started rattling off some of those non-appealing numbers. How good it used to be back in the day. And reminded us that it's probably not going to be a happy new year with Leeds away, which I'm sure we'll touch on in a bit. But other than that, other than Manchester United, all is well.
Yeah, same.
Oh, come on, Jordan. You had a great start to the year, Jordan. Come on, spill.
Go on, Jordan. Tell us, you got some news for everyone. He's been on the beach with his bride and he made an announcement.
I thought you were talking about the golf clubs I bought today. I'm not even joking. I thought you were going to tell me to talk about that.
Come on, tell him.
We're having a little girl in July.
Well,
Awesome.
Congratulations, mate.
Thank you. Soccer training starts second week of July.
It's a long road ahead, let me tell you. With the
You going to name her Ella?
Yes, Ella too. Mate, we're arguing
Even
over
the
names
last
at the
name.
moment. Yeah,
Oh,
that's going to be her first name.
Yeah.
Mate, we've been arguing over names.
Yeah. All right, Dino, you brought this to our attention today. A couple of days ago, you sent me a question. We should do a pod about 2 decades without a killer striker. So I've done a lot of research on this, and I've gone back and I've put a list together. I'm going to start off with a list, and I'll just read it out. So strikers since Sir Alex Ferguson post 2013. So it's a very interesting one. So we've got Robin van Persie, but he was signed by Fergie. Wayne Rooney signed by Fergie. Xavier Hernandez, Chicharito, 2013, which is under Fergie, Welbeck, Fergie. And then we go into Falcao, Ibrahimovic, Lukaku, Sanchez, Igalo, Cavani, Ronaldo, Martial, Weghorst, one of Dean's favourites, Rasmus Højlund, and Šeško. What a list of names we have. Lead the way, Dino. Where do we start?
Well, if you just said those names without their United career, it's actually a pretty good list. The problem is we got them when they were either coming off 3 knee reconstructions or they were past their use-by date at other clubs and stuff like that. So it's just interesting to see, like, you know, obviously there's so much pressure on our number 9 as a striker, and, you know, Šeško this year, last few seasons, Erasmus, and it just got me thinking, when was the last time we actually signed a proper number 9 that succeeded at United?
Yeah. Where
A number 9, proper 9. Wait. The biggest player we've had since then, and he wasn't signed as a 9. He was one of our youth players, is Marcus Rashford. He got 30 in a season. But close by, you had Cristiano Ronaldo, who scored 27 in a year and a half. So Cristiano Ronaldo to come back, how old was he?
37.
37. And you probably look at him. Dino, you sent me one the other day. When was the last time we had a number 7 score more than 20 goals in a season?
After
And the last
Ronaldo
person
was first in,
after
yeah.
Ronaldo.
Ronaldo.
Who was it? Ronaldo. It's fucking crazy. Like, this research has blown my mind.
And
And
you forgot Martial, mate.
12
Martial's
years
in there.
apart.
Yeah.
12 years apart, Ronaldo was he?
Yep.
Yeah. So you
12
waited
years
12
apart.
years to get someone to wear number 7 and score 20 goals in a season, not just in the Premier League, just in a season. We
Mate,
had some
it's-
shockers wear the number 7 as well.
It's absolutely crazy. What do we put it down to? Like, we've got to get into it. We've got to talk about our board. We talk about whether it's the players. We had so many managers. I don't even know where to start with it. I was hoping Dino would come and say, "Look, I think we need to start here. We need to start there." It's a tough one. Yeah, I'll put one to you. Has United failed the strikers, or have the strikers failed United? Start with Tom.
I think it's always a bit of both. Scott McTominay was interviewed a couple of weeks ago, and he was almost set up to throw Manchester United under the bus with one of the questions from the interviewer said, why do Manchester United players struggle at Manchester United? They go away to somewhere else, like a McTominay to Napoli, and they look so good. What's wrong with the club? Is it the club's fault? And Scott McTominay could have easily said, which we probably all expected him to say, yeah, it's not a happy camp sort of thing. There's many issues at the club. But Scott McTominay came out and said, no, that's too easy of an excuse. The pressure's high at Manchester United. We have to perform. And sometimes it's very difficult to perform at Manchester United. And you look at how well Scott McTominay is doing now in Napoli. He was very quick to say, to be fair, I was doing this last season at Manchester United. People just had a different perception because we weren't winning games, but I was performing like this, but it's not really viewed in such way when Manchester United is not winning trophies. So you go back and look at strikers and how bad it's been. You rattle off those names and think, they didn't really hit the ground running. Okay, he didn't score enough goals. He was sold. You go back and rattle a couple of numbers off, which I'm sure you will in a little bit. Romelu Lukaku, whatever we think of his first touch and his link-up play and this and that, he scored goals. Rasmus Højlund's first season. We look at him as a player and think, not good enough for Manchester United. Look at his goals. For a young player coming in with that price tag, compared to what Benjamin Šeško is doing now, injuries aside, you think, hang on, Rasmus Højlund actually did okay in his first season. And I'm just thinking the perception of success and failure at Manchester United is really interesting. And look, 90% of these Manchester United strikers weren't good enough. Of course, there's no hiding from that. But as Gary Neville said, the goalkeeping shirt is probably the most pressurised position in world football. Manchester United's number 9 must be a close second behind it, because even if you do well, it's probably not going to be deemed good enough unless we're winning trophies on the back of it.
Do you think that's also down to the fans too, Tom? Like, we put so much...
Yeah.
You rattle off how good Rasmus was that first season, but, he plays 10 games the following season. We're all, not all of us, but, the pressure's there on him.
Everything sort of adds weight. The media pressure, the fan pressure, social media, just the natural pressure of Manchester United. And everyone's guilty. Now, ultimately, the player on the field is the one who's got to take responsibility. They're a highly paid professional, of course, but all these things do weigh up. A player, I don't know, name a club. Ollie Watkins. Is he having a great season goals-wise? Probably not. No one's talking about it. No pressure. He can start next week.
Yeah.
If a Manchester United striker goes 2 games without scoring, there is national coverage. This guy cannot play for Manchester United. Sell him immediately. We need a new player. And that just weighs on a player. And it's tricky for them to... Look, I can't cope with that pressure, so I don't want to be too critical, but, they can't deal with it.
The problem is it's like the board listened to us saying that too, because, it's just crazy, the turnover. And getting back to Scott McTominay and his comments about, life after United, and you guys will probably prove me wrong, but apart from Scott McTominay, who's gone away and actually improved and succeeded?
Angel Gomez did well when he left. I know it's a different situation, but he's the first one that pops to mind of someone that actually...
I think they don't go away and really succeed, but they don't really go away and get the level of criticism, so it kind of looks like they've succeeded.
Yes, exactly. I think one of our biggest failures with strikers is I'm a big believer in you need someone with experience that can do it to teach someone that hasn't done it yet. So you need you sit there and say, Tom, about Rasmus Højlund and how many goals he scored in that first season. Then the second season, he kind of plateaus and everyone reckons he's not good enough for the club and stuff. But he didn't have someone with experience to come in and take the pressure off him in certain points and go, Rasmus, just go sit on the bench for 2 games. He comes in, he's going to do a job. And still every training session he's there learning off him, just having that instinct. Like, there's one thing to be a striker and to score goals and know where to be, but it's another thing to be in that right position every time and always constantly running in there, because 9 times out of 10 they don't get the ball. But that one time they do get it and they score. I feel like Rasmus really needed someone to learn off. Where at Napoli at the moment, he's got Lukaku, who is injured. Lukaku just scores goals. That's just all he is a goal scorer. So he's probably at training got Lukaku saying, run in here, run that way, do this. It's just learning the game. It's for someone such a young player. And I think
Well,
that's
it
where
goes back
Setzko will struggle.
to Adam's first question in regards to who's to blame, is the striker or the player, and I think that the answer was always in that grey area. I think that both are definitely accountable.
Well, you
I think
look at
relying
like
on
if
a
a player
22-year-old.
loses,
Sorry,
a
go, Dave.
striker loses form, you literally got no one else to put there. So, say for instance, I'd signed Ollie Watkins last season, at the start of this season, instead of Šeško, and kept Rasmus there, and they could, work together and get a bit of experience. And I would have much preferred that and see how that generated this season than saying, okay, 22-year-old Šeško come in, 70 million, it's all yours.
Yeah.
Like,
And that's the problem. The price tag is so big for these young players that they're expected to go in 22 years old to go in and lead the line for Manchester United. And you get everyone going, you're £70 million player, you should be this, and this, when he's actually not even that player to start with. But he's got no one to teach him any different other than what he was doing in the German league, which is a completely different league.
I think as well, this whole thing is about the number 9, and it's just it's a term that rolls off the tongue, and we think that of the shirt number, obviously, but also the position on the field. Take Erling Haaland out of this discussion because he's just an anomaly. He's a monster in terms of what he does. Goals now in terms of teams' top goal scorers, I don't know, very well prove me wrong. But my view is they probably don't come from your number 9, your striker. They're sort of your inside right winger or inside left winger. They're the ones who really grab the goals. Look, when Cristiano Ronaldo was top scorer at Manchester United, he scored 42. Was he our striker? No. He's sort of floated in wide positions. Mohamed Salah now, again, Erling Haaland proves me wrong. Mohamed Salah, how many times he's been top goal scorer? He's come in from the right-hand side. Son from Tottenham, always been Tottenham's goal scorer. So one of those wide players. Kylian Mbappe is your number 9, but really he drifts out wide.
He's on the left. He
comes in. So we think, okay, our number 9 go score our goals. Then just football evolves, football changes. It's no longer your 4-4-2 with 2 strikers up front. Pretty much 9 times out of 10, it's a lone striker sort of system these days. Sometimes, a lot of the times, the goals aren't really predominantly coming from your number 9.
The problem is, Tom, the names you just rattled off, apart from Son, they've all been in successful teams. So they're not scrutinised.
Yeah.
And Son had Harry Kane there for most of his career as well. But, the number 9 is a pivotal role. Doesn't matter what jersey number you're wearing. Any of that front 3 at United is scrutinised more than anything else, because the last sort of 6-7 years we've had Rashford and Martial or Greenwood and a very young front 3. And I've always said to Adam, it's like we're playing with boys up front. We needed men. And that's when it signed Cunha and Brian, I thought that would sort of help it a little bit. But, I've been very disappointed in Cunha this season so far. I know he's had a couple of little injuries and that, but I just think, he's a flamboyant person. He always needs to be on top. And his reaction when we lost the other day wasn't really exciting for me, like looking at it, considering he hasn't been that great so far.
It's interesting with our 9s too. Like I think a lot of United fans have got a real short memory. I think Jordan and I spoke about this in our last pod, and United fans are so fickle sometimes. They just, because it was social media and everything like that, we've got so many people that just view Manchester United as probably, I don't know, maybe the last 10 years, especially the younger ones. Holy shit, man. I get on TikTok and I see some young girl. She's blonde hair, blue eyes, and she's rattling off anything she wants on a forum. And she's literally got 13,000 followers and talks about a game like she's dribbling all day long. And I sent it to Jordan the other day, and I can't believe what I'm watching. So today, while I was researching all this, and just before we came on, I thought, you know what, I'll put Manchester United's top 10 all-time Premier League goal scorers on a list. I'll just have a look at them. And there's literally 4. There's only 4 9s that make that top 10. Top 10. You got Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. If you count Eric Cantona as one, which he used to move back and forth, so he wasn't. Andy Cole. Wayne Rooney, and let me have a look at this other one here. Van Nistelrooy. They're your top. They're your top. Wayne Rooney. Ronaldo was on a wing. You have Paul Scholes. These are the top 10. Wayne Rooney, Ryan Giggs, Paul Scholes, Cristiano Ronaldo, Van Nistelrooy, Andy Cole, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Now, this is big. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, 91 goals from the bench. And Rooney had, and the closest one there, you got Ryan Giggs on 109, right? So he's a striker. Rashford, 87. Bruno Fernandes, 67. Eric Cantona, 64. Martial's the 11th. And Bex is number 12 on 62. And I know you got to go over probably the period that they've been there and how many years and how many minutes they've played and everything like that. But I know in these last period, probably last 2 decades with strikers, most of our strikers, they've been there a year and a half. Some of them not even a season. Like it's just on loan. It's nuts. Like you have a look at some of the stuff. So I've got goals per season coming up here. This is goals per season for our strikers. So we've got Rashford, 131 goals, but he's played a lot of games. He's played a lot of games. Martial, 90, 10 per season. Bruno Fernandes. I think like the one that's blown me away probably is Bruno Fernandes. Like his numbers, everyone just go like, and we all criticize him, but you know what? His numbers for a player, how long's he been at United? 5 years?
5 seasons, yeah.
5 seasons, man. And he's already top, in the last decade, top 3 goal scorers. You got Lukaku, as Tom was talking about before, 42 goals in 2 seasons. You know, that's 21 per season. Yeah. Zlatan in a season and a half, 29. Cavani, 19. Ronaldo, 27 in a season and a half. Mate, they're good numbers. The problem we've got is we just can't keep them.
Well, you look at that list there, right? What is it? 3 or 4 of them were over the age of 30 when they came to the club.
Yep.
That's what I mean. But that's what I was going to say before when we're talking about strikers in the world. The strikers in the world now that score goals, there's none below the age of 28. Like Lewandowski's in his 34. Like the Martinez from Inter Milan's 31. Harry Kane's 30 something. Like there's not strikers out there anymore that are under the age of 28 that you can have for 4, 5, 6 seasons. I'd wonder if that's why the money on Šeško and players that are 22 and 21 is so high. Is because they're just like hoping that they're going to turn into something out of this world.
But most strikers these days aren't traditional like these players now, are they? No. Not even close. No. Like these players that are 34, 35 years old that we've gone and bought, name a traditional striker that's like them, like a Cavani, like a Ronaldo, players like that, like a Ole Gunnar Solskjaer or what do you call it? Who else? You'd have Xerxes, but Xerxes not even a striker, built like a striker. You know what I mean? I'm not saying he's like those players. I'm talking about physically.
That Ekitike is quite physical.
He's physical. He's a goal scorer too.
Yeah.
But you look at like your best goal scorer in the world football in terms of a striker, other than outside of the Premier League, I should say, is probably Lewandowski. Like he is the definition of a striker that just puts the ball in the net. Doesn't really do much else. He feeds off young kids' energy up there for Barcelona, sits in the box and just scores.
I don't even think he plays every game anymore, does he?
No, he doesn't. No. Doesn't at all. But when he does, he scores.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have to do any of the running. That's why he's still there at that age. He's got.
Well, it's like Harry Kane at Munich. He doesn't have to do any of the hard work because he's got a decent team behind him and he finishes.
And there is no hard work in the German league. When he played for Bayern. Because they just buy everyone that's any good from the other team.
Does it come down to I'm a big supporter of Rashford, still am. I tried to back him as much as I could over the years. He was our winger. He did score 30 goals when he did play in that 9 position. And Tom always thought he was a very good player, but technically maybe not as good as Martial, which I totally agree with Tom. And Dino, you used to say the same thing all the time. does it come down to, especially with players like Marcus Rashford, by the time he became famous with all his charity work and everything like that, does it come down to management tactics for him, or too many managers over that period of time? Well, what does it come down to for a player like him? Or even Martial, who was scoring goals at will, but all of a sudden it looked like he didn't want to be there, lost interest, got injured, come off the bench, and then did his thing.
You'd have to ask them, but my thought whenever I think about something like that, I just picture what would Marcus Rashford have looked like if he came into Manchester United in 2008, or if Martial was put into the treble-winning team. With that stability, with that success, with those other people around him, with the club running in a better structure, just naturally it's going to be a little bit different. It might be worse, it might be better. The money would suggest they're going to be a little bit better, of course. And I think that is where, with the opening question of the podcast, was who's to blame? Is it the individual striker, or is it the club to blame? And I just think these strikers, let's take Anthony Martial and Marcus Rashford specifically, just look at the state of the club. You just mentioned just that one issue in and around the change of manager, and I'd say more so towards Marcus Rashford, and this is far from being critical of him. He's a very, I'd say, basic player in regards to what he does. It's very, very old school. Everyone knows what he's going to do when he gets the ball. He has one thing in mind, and you know exactly what that's going to be. Is it really coached out of him, or was it anything really added to his game from a coach? By the time a coach really got his sort of claws into him, he was sacked, and then it's another manager with a new set of instructions. So naturally, I think that development at Manchester United for those players isn't going to be... Now, there's obviously good experience in listening to different coaches and different managers. Of course, that's going to sort of benefit someone's career. But I think you do need a little bit more stability. And at Manchester United, there has just been zero stability. I just mentioned that, and I talk about young strikers coming through. Again, someone proved me wrong. I'm sure there's a name I completely forget. But that stability of a young player coming through, is there a young player who's come through the Chelsea Academy? And really, I think Reece James probably, a different position, obviously not number 9, but in that number 9 position, has a young player come through at Chelsea and sort of hit the ground running and had a career? Maybe there is, but I don't think there is.
Abraham at Chelsea, he came through the youth system, and now
you'd put him in a...
He wouldn't be that level, though. You'd put him in the...
Yeah,
that's the only one I can think of.
Yeah, so look, with Rashford and Martial, I think there were, and they have their own sort of blame in this, or they have to take account, of course. They're definitely not helped by the constant changing of managers, and it's a wider debate in and around Manchester United and the Glazers and Ineos, but the different type of managers. Louis van Gaal, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Jose Mourinho, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Ralph Rangnick, Erik ten Hag, just there's been no path. They're having to chop and change instructions over the years, and it's clear there was no real, I'd say, progression in their game, or they never really added anything to their game.
Well, do you think, here's a question for you, is how long do you reckon a manager needs to get enough of a time to actually implement something on a player to add something to their game?
I don't think it's specific, and again, it's a wider debate. I don't think it's so, because the managers don't have time. So it's not like I have this example of this manager, he had 4 years. Well, he never got 4 years, so I'll never have that. But that's in my mind. But it's more so the experience of the player. I don't think a manager's going to tell Marcus Rashford, okay, I want you to control the ball like this. No, Rashford, he has a good touch. He can control the ball. A coach isn't on the field saying, I want you to shoot like this. Or when you get into this area, I want you to hit it with this part of your foot. Obviously, there are little tendencies you can give tips, but it's just experience.
Yeah.
And these players just can't get that constant playing time because changing a manager, so different personnel. Or you go 2 games without a goal at Manchester United, suddenly you're no good, you have to be on the bench. Where you can't play yourself, you can't experience what it's like to when you're in a goal drought. When you go 10 games without a goal, how do you get out of that? They can't get out of it because they're sitting on the bench. So they have to come in and sort of bundle one over the line and hope a little bit of luck changes.
One for you. When was the last manager at United to actually improve a player?
Look, we always have that debate when a new manager comes in. We always say, "Oh, look how much he's getting out of this player." I think when Erik ten Hag first came in, when Erik ten Hag first came in, he said, "Look what he's doing to Marcus Rashford." Marcus Rashford that first season was unbelievable. By the time Erik ten Hag left, we were saying, "Yeah, who did he improve? He improved absolutely no one." In the first 6 months, we were saying he's improved everyone. In a year's time, we're saying he's improved absolutely. So that's the manager versus player who's responsible. Always it's a good question. We always say no one at the end when a manager's lost his job.
But honestly, off the top of my head, I can't really think of anyone because to me, when a manager improves a player, that player has to proceed and keep going. You can't just be like, "Oh, I've been good for 6 months. That's me." That's how I look at it. Like,
No, that's what I was
like
about to say.
Rashford had the perfect platform, right? As a young player, he got thrown in the deep end because of injuries and stuff like that. He got off to probably one of the greatest starts at United for a young player like that. And for me, I just think he was sort of then influenced by outer sources, including United and sort of family and stuff like that. And then obviously COVID hit, so it was a very isolated world. So he had that tight group around him. He did a lot of good stuff with the charity stuff and all that. And, you know, credit to him, like, it's unbelievable. But I think that really affected his on-field then. Like, he just had so much going on that he didn't actually, to me, look like he wanted to actually play football. Like, he just never really had that persona.
He didn't look like he enjoyed it out there, did he?
Coming in, like, it was always just straight face, you know, I'm very serious now and blah, blah, blah. So,
just on that, Jordan, what Dan was saying, but Jordan goes on to say he never really looked like he enjoyed it. And it's where that old sort of the plaque they've put up in Carrington where it's Cav Pips saying, remember, smile, you're at Manchester United. I look at Marcus Rashford, and I hate to sort of pick on him, but we look at that and say, yeah, he wasn't really happy. And I can't get my head around that. Then want to take a step back and look, obviously the caveat is very well paid. Obviously, that makes life a lot easier for us sitting here watching someone earn that money, so it can't be crying over it. But you look at the pressure that was put on him, the noise around him, the situation around him. He's probably right to not to be happy. the weight of the world was on his shoulders. He probably got a right to sort of not.
But
really
also,
want to be
that was his entourage too, Tom.
Yeah,
right?
All,
you know, it's like what happened with Ravel Morrison back in the day and stuff like that. We've had so many good youth players that have gone down the wrong path.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a spotlight that comes with being an up-and-comer through Manchester United, though, isn't it? You're thrown, like Rashford was getting photos taken of him when he goes to watch the New York Knicks play a basketball game because he was in a Louis Vuitton jumper. Like at the end of the day, who gives a shit what he's wearing? I'm sorry,
but we're on Rashford and Martial, and we're right. I think I agree with what everyone's saying there.
It's everyone though. It's not.
But these are players who are near the top of that list, which Adam showed. These are the players who maybe did they really succeed or not? They succeed a hell of a lot more than some of the other strikers.
Yeah, that's crazy to think, isn't it?
Well, yeah, that's what we were talking about before. Like, I mean, your top list, like you got the one that shocked me the most in that list of strikers he's not even a striker, was Juan Mata. Like, you know, you got a problem there when you got probably the smallest bloke on the pitch, like the footwork on this guy is unbelievable. And in my opinion, was treated absolutely ruthlessly at Manchester United at the back end of his time there. Absolutely shocking. But the ultimate professional, he's in the top 4 goal scorers since 2013. Juan Mata. Like, it's incredible that this guy, 51 goals. Most people wouldn't even know that he scored 51 goals for United. He's in our top 4 behind Rashford, Martial, Bruno, Juan Mata. Then you got Lukaku. And again, I'll say it. Okay, he wasn't Lukaku and that weren't there as long as Juan Mata. But what right does Juan Mata have to score 51 goals? And who was his strikers at the time? He played with Zlatan. He had Zlatan Ibrahimovic come in and out. I don't think
Van Persie.
Would have he been there at the end of Van Persie? Probably came in.
Yeah.
You had Falcao.
Yeah, Falcao for a year or two when they had Di Maria.
And maybe Cavani as well. Like, mate, this guy, the more I get into Juan Mata, the more I appreciate him more. Mate, it's just, and I hope most people are listening to this because the guy gets no credit whatsoever. And Tom and I spent a lot of time with him.
For 10 years.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just absolutely mental that this guy gets treated the way he does at some clubs.
I think sometimes,
ludicrous.
And look, in the last post-Fergie, my favourite player, obviously Juan Mata, my favourite player, or who I viewed as the best player pre-Fergie, or during the Fergie era, as I should say, Paul Scholes. Very similar, but sometimes your best player, and I've sort of experienced this, I'm sure sometimes I've experienced this at whatever level we've played, but I see this at Manchester United. Wayne Rooney, Paul Scholes, Juan Mata. Sometimes your best player is often, even by the manager, sacrificed. Wayne Rooney, I thought in that sort of 08 period, it was Ronaldo was scoring 42 goals, but what Wayne Rooney had to do, Wayne Rooney had to go play left wing back. Paul Scholes, when he went on England duty, England's best player, go play out on the left. One matter, Manchester's not his most technical player. Can't really drop him because he's the best player. We'll put him on the right wing. Sometimes your best player is often sort of punished.
Yeah.
And
It
to throw
happens-
that back at you about one matter and people not like appreciating him. When was the last time you wore a Louis Vuitton jacket to an NBA game?
He's down to earth.
He doesn't draw that attention, and that's
Could
the
you
thing, like,
imagine that? Far
no, but
out,
like,
man.
He
but
wouldn't even
that's
own
what
one.
happens, though, you know, like, it's like the other day, like, when that Anthony
You're
Joshua
right,
had that
Lino,
car
you are
crash,
right.
Anthony
Yeah.
Joshua just had a fatal car crash with his mates in the car, and all you see is
Yeah.
people dragging him out with their mobile phones in his face, just trying to get the best picture. Like,
Yeah.
the world
Yeah.
is so bad at the moment, man. Like, it's
Yeah.
unbelievable. Like, it's crazy.
I don't think I've ever seen Wild Matter without like his football uniform on or something wearing like a football uniform when he goes
But you-
out.
But you even look at like Bruno
Hilarious.
Fernandes, for example, Adam. Like, for me, he's
Yeah.
like a real family man. He's not out on every
Yeah.
night and stuff like that. Where you get players that are drawn to that lifestyle, and that's
Yeah.
why they're always in the papers. It's like when Bex and Posh got together. Look at the scrutiny on him. Imagine if that was today with all the social media.
Oh, mate, all those
Like, where
boys.
would
It
Bex
wouldn't have been
be
just
in
him. It would
today?
have been all the boys in a lot of trouble, let me tell you. Fucking,
Yeah, but he
imagine
had
Eric
her as well.
Cantona. Yeah, that's it. Like Eric
know?
Cantona, what would his set life sentence be after kicking that bloke? Seriously, after that Palace cap. Look, I know
He'll
we're
be
not doing
chasing
topic
seagulls.
from
mate.
the strikers, but far out, man.
Chasing seagulls.
Crazy. Look, let's bring it back. Let's bring it back to the strikers and who we've had and everything like that. We look at times. Look, Rasmus Højlund. We thought we'd bring him in. And this is probably one of those situations where we bring him in. We probably, when we did want to bring him in, he was probably one of those strikers that will probably start from the bench. But it didn't end up being that case. He ended up playing for us a lot of games, starting games all the time. And at the end of the day, and most of us all know here, it comes back to the Glazers, recruitment, everything like that. Ed Woodward was there, from 2012, 13. He continued up to 2022. Then Richard Arnold came in. These are guys that are bringing these players in and bringing Cristiano Ronaldo's, Zlatan Ibrahimovic's, and players like Cavani and stuff like that. As much as these guys have all scored goals for us and given us a good return when you look at how much we paid for them, they're just the wrong people to bring in at the time or across that period. You had managers that couldn't manage these egos at all.
But I think what was looked at when they were brought in, and it's another side of football which probably a lot of people don't like, is how many jerseys did they all sell?
Yeah.
Like, I read a stat that Cristiano Ronaldo's yearly wage was covered in the first 24 hours worth of shirt sales.
Yeah.
But not
this
just
is-
that.
this-
Like you
Go,
said,
Dean,
Rasmus coming. How old was Rasmus when we signed him? 19?
21.
21, was he? So if we'd brought a 21-year-old when Cavani and Falcao and all these players were sort of there, it would have been perfect. The problem is we buy one striker and we buy 4 left backs. Like, we're
And all
still
the
getting
left
linked with
backs
left
are
backs.
shit.
But like we're still getting linked with left backs and stuff like that. Like, you need an experienced striker.
Yep.
Period.
Well, there was one club, it was about 2 years ago, I thought they had the perfect combination. It was Aston Villa. They had Ollie Watkins, who was at the top of his game at the time, and they had that John Duran coming off the bench, the Colombia one, who they ended up selling for 70 million to Saudi. And that was because when Ollie Watkins didn't score in a game, they subbed him off and they brought on John Duran, and he scored goals as well. And they looked like they got on. Like, I don't know, it wasn't involved in the club or anything, but what it looked like is they both just pushed each other to different levels. And I think that was Ollie Watkins' best season. And since John Duran has left and there's no actual replacement for Ollie Watkins because Villa keep buying wingers, he's probably plateaued a bit due to his age and that, but he's not. I think a striker's always got to be kept on your toes, and there's got to be someone ready for your spot, firing, some young guy firing, ready to come on.
Well, we had 4 strikers when we won the treble, so that just proves your point. Like, you've
Yeah.
got to have
The question,
competition.
the question, though, in regards to, I agree. In terms of a real successful team, what you probably need there in that number 9 position is that experienced striker. Jordan mentioned at the start in regards to the age group of sort of current strikers scoring goals that sort of probably well into their 30s. Without mentioning any name, someone answer this, but without saying a name, just a price tag. If Manchester United will go out this summer and buy that experienced striker who's going to guarantee goals next season, what price tag are we looking at?
Well, Chris Wood was pretty cheap a few years ago. He scores goals. I'm telling you.
Would he score them? That's the thing. Does he score them at Manchester United?
That's
how
the
do you
issue.
know? But I'd rather waste 15 million on a Chris Wood than 80 million on a Rasmus.
That's the balance, though. 15 million. He goes 2 or 3 games. Let's say a Veghorst, he goes 2 or 3 games without scoring. Why didn't we go get the 90 million pound player? Look at him. He's no good. And that
No, but you have both times.
pressure. Suddenly he looks like a failure. You go get that 90 million pound player.
You have both. You don't just have one. You got to have both because when Rasmus isn't in form, you throw in the Chris Wood. When Chris Wood's like, they've got to be challenging for each other. You can't just have one dominant number 9 and we'll worry about the rest later. Like there has to be competition. It was like when Welbeck and all them were there. There was like a group of them that weren't like really elite, but he had like, you know, Makeda and players like that around him and stuff. And Chikorita, I think, was still there. And, you know, they were sort of fighting for that bench position. We got nothing.
See, look, I agree. But because I'm playing Football Manager in my mind now, I've got the screen in regards to my squad depth and everything. I'll go bring that best striker in. He's fantastic. In reality, though, in the real world, let's say that's Cristiano Ronaldo. Like prime Cristiano Ronaldo comes in. He's not getting subbed. That player, what we think in our mind, he's going to come in and get the games in the Carling Cup or the Europa League. Really, I don't think that player, that 20-year-old, 21-year-old, if you have that experienced striker who's really scoring the goals, ever really gets the experience they really need. So by the time they're 24, 25, a Danny Welbeck, under all those great strikers, once he has to be the main man at Manchester United, once Robin van Persie leaves, is he really good enough for Manchester United? Probably not. He never really probably got the football he needed in those years. So I think I agree with you that that's what we need on paper for my mind. But I just think in regards to the way it usually plays out, it never really plays out like that.
Yeah, I agree. I think now the media is just so involved in the sport that, like, if you sign, like, look at Ekitike for Liverpool, right? I think he's miles ahead of Isak this year until Isak broke his leg, and he's always been injured. But Isak was on the bench for Liverpool for a couple of games, and they're saying, how can you bench a £120 million player? You've spent Florian Wirtz, when he was playing shit and he got put on the bench. So, like, you can't buy someone for that price and put him on the bench. But I think I find that also harsh to the players because I don't think a player can ever set his own price tag. The club sets that, but then it comes back and bites the players when they move, if that makes sense, if it's not working out. But to go back on your point before, Tom, about players not getting, if they don't play for Manchester United, they don't get as much heat from the media. Look at that Gyökeres for Arsenal. Personally, I think he's shambolic up front. And
he doesn't look like
Arsenal don't even really play him.
And I never really watched sort of the Portuguese league. You sort of took an interest when you were linked with Ruben Amorim, and we remember that game where they played Man City in the Champions League, and you watch YouTube. Yeah, he looks a player, looks a proper number 9 at Arsenal. And again, pressure situation. I don't know all the ins and outs of the challenges a striker at Arsenal does face, but yeah, doesn't look a great footballer. He looks like a striker who's come in and not quite hit the ground running at United. I can see Gyökeres doing almost the same as what a Manchester United striker comes in and does over the last 10 years. And you're right that there are sort of 1 or 2 murmurs of sort of criticism at Arsenal, but probably just within the Arsenal fan base. No real, real proper scrutiny.
It's not like outside noise like we caught with, like, I reckon Cunha's caught more than him in terms of performances and things.
But
like
the reason is that they're on top of the table, and that's just what it is.
Yeah. Well, you fucking got me there.
Yeah, like it's just what it is. Like, yeah.
Sometimes I hate it when you come on because sometimes you speak way too much sense.
But you look at like when City had Kun Aguero and Šeško and all those sort of players, like, you know, they had multiple players. My point is that over the last decade, we've signed all these old players, even some on loan. There hasn't been a look to the future of, oh, this guy's going to be our striker in 5 years' time. It's always been about a shirt sale or a quick fix.
Mm.
And that's the
This
issue.
is the biggest point. This is the
so if we
biggest
get rid of Rasmus at 21, people already want to throw Šeško out the door. Like, where does it end? Like,
Here's a question for you.
all
What's
these
the
other
difference
clubs-
between them two? What does Šeško give you that Rasmus didn't give you? Or what does one give you that the other doesn't?
I think the only thing off the top of my head at the moment, because, Šeško's only played, I think, like 15, 16 games.
Yeah.
He's quicker than Rasmus, I reckon, off the mark and stuff like that. And personally, I couldn't tell you the difference.
I think he holds the ball up better than Rasmus.
Yeah.
I think he does, definitely does. And I think he runs a better line than Rasmus Højlund. I just think, but by the time, but I'm thinking just probably in that back 6 months of that last season.
That's the problem.
I think that's the problem, right? We've all got short memory with him and everything like that. I've watched him play live, probably 2 or 3 times, Rasmus, and I always thought he lacked a little bit off the line. But when I watched Šeško, I actually, as much as Jordan's watched him for a long time, I actually don't mind the way Šeško plays. I actually don't mind it. I just want someone.
He's got great ability, but
that's it.
You need to be a great striker. You don't need great ability. You need to be a great striker.
But we need also players that can feed him the ball as well. We need players in behind that striker. Is that the other question here? We may have had all these strikers, and bar the older strikers like your Ronaldos, Ibrahimovic, your Cavani's, that can create anything from nothing. Holy shit, man. You're still seeing Ronaldo do it at 40 years old, 41 years old. He just seems to be able to find a line or get his ass on the ball like his last goal, just in any situation. Do you think a lot of these strikers that have come in, and I said it before, they haven't got the old school mentality. They don't have that drive to get into the box to score goals. They're happy to pick up their wages, dawdle into the box. If it goes past, it's like, okay, I'll try again. They don't get devastated by missing that opportunity at the time. I don't think they look at every opportunity as, I don't know how to word it, but to me, every time I wanted to score a goal, I wanted to make sure I've got that tally going up because I loved scoring goals. I'm not saying they don't love scoring goals. I just don't think their mindset is, okay, I'll just try next time.
Yeah,
when I'm playing, I don't believe there is a next time.
Yeah, there's a difference between some strikers compared to others, right? Like you look at Erling Haaland, Harry Kane. That's probably all you can name off the top of my head right at this moment. If their team wins and they do not score a goal, they're not happy, even if they got 3 points. Well, I think a lot of forwards now go, okay, we got 3 points. I'm happy with that. Like I think an elite top of the level striker has to have that because that is their job at the end of the day. Yeah, that is your job. Yeah. And I don't think it has anything to do with the players behind the strikers for Manchester United, especially in the last 5 years, because I could be wrong here, but has anyone created more chances than Bruno Fernandes in the last 5 years in world football?
Not.
So therefore, you can't say you haven't got chances because you've got people like Bruno on the ball.
I'll question you on that though, but these days when it comes to creating chances, right? There's creating chances and there's creating chances, right? Yes. Bruno Fernandes is happy to have the ball at him and just flick it into any type of space, right? As long as it gets behind the line. Is that creating a chance?
100%. If your striker is smart, but if your striker is smart enough to make the run,
how do you read a person like Bruno Fernandes? You tell me. If Bruno Fernandes passes a ball straight through the line and the striker's making a good run, yeah. But Bruno Fernandes could be facing his own goal, and next thing he's freaking flicking it on out to the left or to the right. When was the last time you saw Bruno Fernandes? When was the last time you saw Bruno Fernandes slide a ball between the two centre backs or something like that and put a player into a hole? This is even more of a
problem of what we've signed, though. This goes back to it.
Yeah,
You've got a player like Bruno
Fernandes.
He's not a player that slides the ball through the lines. Yeah. Bruno Fernandes is a player that whips the ball in behind. So why do we go and sign like these strikers? That's what I mean. Your best player, you've got to accommodate his style to the rest of your team. Like you can't expect him to then change the way he plays and how successful he's been for our club because you've gone to sign a different striker.
Yeah.
But that's stupid. You're trying to bring two players that don't even play the same together. That's why Kevin De Bruyne was so fucking good because he could do absolutely everything passing-wise.
Like Cunha gets the ball and just drives straight to the penalty box.
Yeah.
That's not Šeško's game.
No.
Like, so, as John says, like you got to have a team there that can actually gel and perform. And at the moment,
Well, the other thing is Bruno Fernandes is too deep half the time because what do you call it? Amarin wants him to play deeper with Casemiro. So
I think Šeško scores against Wolves the other day if Bruno plays in that midfield instead of Casemiro. With the amount of chances we could have played the ball through early to Šeško, who was almost 1v1 running, and the ball didn't come, and we turned around and we played it wide. I feel like the Šeško is obviously very quick, very big. I don't think he uses his body well, but that's for another time. But he's very quick. So if you can get him running without the ball, I don't want to say him run with the ball because I don't think he's got that ability, but running onto things, like almost like an Erling Haaland style, almost, where he's not actually running with the ball. He's running to the ball from a through ball. Or when the defensive line decides to push up and Bruno's a bit deeper with the ball, whip the ball in early and Šeško can run in earlier.
Our biggest attacking threat this season, just from a visual of what it looks like, is playing the ball in behind to Mbeumo running onto the ball. So some players, Erling Haaland, running onto the ball. And I just think I go back to the first question of the pod Adam said in regards to, who's to blame, the player or the club? And you mentioned all those things in regards to the strikers we're bringing in now probably aren't, or the players aren't really compatible in regards to Cunha with Šeško and Šeško with Bruno. That's where you look at the club. And we sit here and say, okay, they brought in the wrong mix at the moment. Bruno can't play with Šeško or Cunha can't play with this striker. Well, in a year's time, look at the age bracket, Bruno might not be here. So have we brought in the right striker, but then do you bring in the right midfielder for Šeško? I just think that is where you look at it and think, Bruno was playing in the 10. Would Benjamin Šeško look a little bit different? So I think in regards to the sporadic nature of the type of players we bring in, they're so different, and not to be critical. If Ruben Amorim is the manager, I'm a firm believer in giving him the players he wants or give him the traits that he wants. If he leaves in 6 months, unlucky. We're going to have to revamp the squad. That's not ideal, but I'm a firm believer in giving. I understand the notion of building a squad for sort of a continual nature of when the manager does leave. I understand that theory, but I'm sort of so entrenched in what Sir Alex Ferguson did in regards to I do believe the manager should have full control, even though that does come with risk. But I just think, all these great players, or whether we think they're good enough for Manchester United or not, they've got great ability. They're not really clicking. Like, when's the last we always revert back to? I just got to throw there Dwight York and Andy Cole. They had that sort of combination. Carlos Tevez and Wayne Rooney, they had that connection. Probably the ones I can remember in the last 10 years, probably Anthony Martial and Bruno Fernandes, I thought always maybe on the same page. It didn't sort of come to the great fruition. But I can't really think of a pairing, whether it be a strike pairing or an attacking combination. Who were two players who really clicked?
The only two that I can think that clicked for the season was when Luke Shaw was fully fit.
Yeah,
Rashford.
There's your left back and left.
That's what I mean by that.
I used to think Rashford and Martial used to put click at times as well. I used to think like Martial would play in that 9 position and Rashford out on the left. I used to think that Shaw, Rashford, and Martial used to always click, but then one of them would get injured. It was always that case and like even before that, I'm trying to think like, so you go back to Moy, you still had Wayne Rooney there, Van Persie there. You didn't really, do you think you had a combination in that era there?
No,
well, that's the
13.
When I think of Moyes, when I think of Van Persie and Rooney, I think of Villa in 12-13. That's obviously Fergie days. Fast forward 6 months, it's a very different story. In terms of Wayne Rooney, desperate to go to Chelsea, Robin Van Persie, so not quite happy. So it was almost two different sets of characters in regards to them on the same page under one manager. A new manager comes in, and it was absolutely not disastrous, but in terms of I'd kill to finish 7th these days. That's where that team finished under David Moyes. And look, it's interesting. It just goes back. I'll keep reverting back at him to that first question you said. Who's playing? Because we always want to fix. We always say, okay, that's the problem. Let's fix it. It's always in a grey area. Benjamin Šeško, he needs to do better. Yeah, but Jordan Drake, the players behind him need to do a little bit better as well. And I just think, it's very tricky to sort of evaluate.
I think
So-
our front line changed so dramatically this season, though. Like, you have literally got 3 new players who have never played together. I think you've pushed someone like a Bruno Fernandes, who's always played in a 4-3-3 as a 10, now playing as an 8 in a midfield too. Then you've got Ahmad that's now playing as a right wing back. I think that whole scenario, like when you think of successful teams, they swap one player out for a like-for-like swap, or bring 2 in for the season and 2 go out. Like, they just strengthen the same spot. Whereas I think right now we've just gone and put pretty much 4 players in 4 different positions, and it might take time to adjust. I don't know. I'm
feels
just
like
trying to be that
now
other
we are,
side of
and
things.
look, some of our best football. Adam mentioned there, sort of Greenwood. Greenwood was a part of it, wasn't he? But Rashford, Martial, Luke Shaw,
Yeah.
Paul Pogba, I'll throw in there as well. We probably don't remember, or probably don't think of that COVID era. It was a bad time. It was probably a bad time for everyone. But Manchester United weren't actually as bad as we think. Played some pretty good football there. There was some
Well,
bad
we finished
moments.
second. No, we
I know,
finished.
but
We finished
But
Mourinho's
second.
greatest achievement.
that's what I mean.
Yeah, but
Maybe
we
don't
finished
remember
second
that
under
clearly.
Ollie as well. At one stage with Ollie, we got the first place. Like
Yeah.
it was.
But the
How good was
feeling,
that run?
but not
I
amongst
talk
us.
about this all the
feeling
time,
was-
man.
But that feeling was, I agree. Everyone here obviously loved Ollie on a social, but the feeling, we talk about that outside noise, that outside pressure, that was a bad time. Solskjaer ended up costing his job because he didn't win a trophy. Even though you look back at it, it was actually relatively pretty good. And I just think you go back and look at that football, very good football, just had the feel, and not to be critical of any of the managers at that time, players playing off the cuff, off instinct in terms of the way Bruno plays, the way Paul Pogba played, the way Marcus Rashford played. Now, whether we like it or not, whether someone's a fan of the system or the manager or not, it does feel like there is a definite structure. There is something when Bruno Fernandes, Casemiro has the ball. Where's Brian and Mbumo? When that ball's in transition to Mbumo, everyone's moving into a certain structure. And you can see what we're trying to do in regards to wing backs, sort of create an overload with that inside 10, whether people prefer the natural instinct of individuality or they prefer the structured build-up. That's obviously a preference. But I do think in regards to, I think there's a more structured way Ruben Amorim wants to attack. But in regards to maybe what is sometimes better for some players is that throw them in that area of the pitch and let them figure it out themselves. I think when some people have too many instructions on what to do, it can take away from their sort of natural flair.
It's not like we're not creating chances, though. Like, I'm pretty sure this season we're creating a lot more than...
That's what I mean. I think the football is actually good to get us in those areas. It's
the problem is, though,
quality.
say Šeško's having an off day, you literally have no one on the bench or an experienced player to come off the bench to slot in there and play 20, 30 minutes. It's literally Šeško comes off after 60 minutes, you put Cunha forward, and that's it. Like, there's no... And that's my issue is that, like, you know, every striker has their off day, right? So you bring someone else on and, you know, throw him on and, you know, he might have an off day as well, but you take that pressure off that person and you bring someone else in and they sort of share the pressure and in the mix. As where at the moment, there's nothing. It's like Brian Mbumo got off to a great start this season. The last month, he's been poor, very poor in my opinion. And if it wasn't for Ahmad sort of carrying that side, I don't know where we would be at. So, you know, these players that have come in, Brian's got off to a great start. I've been very disappointed in Cunha, and Šeško is inexperienced. So, you know, even though we've changed that sort of front bit, and I know it takes more than one season, but this is another issue. We should have been thinking about this season 3 seasons ago by having players already there with experience that could be playing this role.
Do you think we can't do that, though, because we don't have a manager there for longer than 3 to 4 seasons at the moment? Like, who's had the longest reign as a manager for us since Fergie?
Get the manager. Look, it'll be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I assume.
That's what I mean.
I might be way wrong.
Jose was 3, wasn't he? Was he 3 or 4?
Much of it, muchness. But
Mourinho lasted 2, I think.
I'll take that discussion
Similar,
away, Jordan, from the manager. And you talk Copy Mainoo, a different position, but let's take the Copy Mainoo situation now. We talk about, and again, my mind is all on paper in agreement with what everyone's saying. I'm playing Football Manager. I say, okay, I'm going to have him on the bench, and he's going to sort of play 10 games a season. Next season, he's going to play 15 and get to 20 starts. If a player's on the bench now, and that's the club's plan, that's the manager's plan, this is how we're going to integrate him in and develop him. If he's only playing 5 times in the first season, what do you think's happening? Transfer request. He's gone. I just see that there is no patience.
Egos are crazy, isn't it?
So there is no patience. Someone now is going to have someone in their ear, like under Sir Alex Ferguson. He would have convinced a player, look, You're going to come in, if we're in the Carling Cup, you're going to play League Cup games. I'll give you 5 appearances in the Premier League. You perform, next season you'll play group stages in the Champions League. Suddenly he's 22, 23, still at Manchester United. Someone breaks down with an injury. He's now playing for the next 3 months and he gets his chance. But now, when that instruction is given to the player in that first season, he says, no, that's not good enough. Chelsea are going to offer me this money and a starting berth, so I'm going to go. And I just think there is just, and that's a football-wide problem, not just Manchester United. But
the problem is, how did Kobe get his shot in the first team?
Well, he's good enough. He played. He
was
a standout performer.
literally there wasn't other players there fighting for that position.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm getting to as a squad. We literally don't build a team because, as you say, we mix and match managers and stuff like that. But Kobe got that opportunity. He absolutely killed it. He's playing in the final for England, then gets injured for pretty much a whole season, really, and just expects to walk back in. It's just, I think we create the problem as well because, if we had a decent midfield, 4 or 5 midfielders in that team, Kobe wouldn't have been in that team at that age.
Yeah. Do you think though, so again, playing devil's advocate here, going back to say Fergie era and all that stuff, do you think he signs a 22-year-old striker for almost like a record fee to start up front for Manchester United?
No.
You think about what Tom just said there, where you have a young player and he would let them know you're going to play 5 games in the Premier League, a couple League Cup appearances. Next year you play well, you start doing group stages and that. Before you know it, you're 3 seasons into Manchester United. You know what it's like to wear the shirt, the pressure of the fans, playing in Old Trafford, the media. You're used to it all because you've been there for 3-4 years before you're actually an out-and-out starter every week. I think these kids are getting thrown. Jack Fletcher got thrown into the fucking deep end on the weekend. And he is not... Again, I don't want to go on about it, but physically he's nowhere near it. And it's not his fault.
I think the problem you got there, Jordan, is we're talking about, you mentioned Fergie's era, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the youngest striker that Fergie's probably bought is probably Wayne Rooney, right? But in saying that, if Manchester United were playing like they are now, do you think Wayne Rooney now signs for Manchester United back then in 2003, or Cristiano Ronaldo probably may still come because he probably didn't know any different. But a Wayne Rooney may not sign then. So
was there no other strikers in that team?
But that's what I'm saying. So I don't think, but Wayne Rooney probably at that time, if United's playing shit and they hadn't won a league for years, I don't think Wayne Rooney comes, to be honest with you, because most players knew what they had at Manchester United.
I think that's the Fergie effect, though. And it's like back in the day, players would have gone to Jose because of that. Now look at Mourinho. You can't tell me players want to go play for Mourinho now.
No way, no chance.
So, but my point is, though, Wayne Rooney came to United because he looked at the caliber of players around in that team and gone, this is my future.
That's my point.
Yeah.
If it was like now, Wayne Rooney wouldn't have come. There's no chance.
Yeah, but what my point kind of was, partly that, but partly Wayne Rooney aside, because he's like a generational talent at that age. He was an absolute freak at 16.
And he was built for it.
He's built for it. To start the line for Manchester United, would a 22-year-old in one of their worst periods ever be good enough and have the mental strength to wear that shirt and have the media power? Again, look at Rasmus Højlund the first season, and then the second season, no backup. Exactly where I was getting at. There's no one to come in and take the pressure off you. That's one thing I have to say that Pep does well with Manchester City, is when his wingers aren't playing well, pulls them straight out, like for like swap straight in. You sit on the bench for 3 to 4 games, you'll get to come back on later.
It's like the
depth.
Can I just stop you for a sec, right? This is the kind of shit we're talking about on social media and stuff like that, right? So we've had 67 people watching our first live on TikTok, right? And I've got a guy in the chat, and he's going, and we're talking about Ronaldo, and we're talking about, right? So we've got people now relating. So to me, R9 is the Brazilian R9. Am I not correct there?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got a guy in here going, he didn't even sign R9 at that age. So apparently Fergie signed R9. This is the kind of shit that I'm sick of dealing with. It's just mental.
Also, this is another thing too. With like, it's off topic, but R9 did not get fucking signed because he had 3 knee reconstructions before the age of 24.
Hmm.
Like he was
That's
fucking
right.
gone by the age of 24. 2002 was his
Mate.
last year of doing anything in football, really.
Like he swallowed his tongue.
Oh, holy shit, man! It's just
tell you what,
it's
And he wanted to go
mental.
live on TikTok.
With the original
Oh.
Ronaldo and bring that in towards a Manchester United and tie it in with Cristiano Ronaldo, it shows our age and it shows the advancement in technology. We went following Cristiano Ronaldo the season before he arrived at Manchester United. There was no Fabrizio Romano updates or anything. We obviously know the story of how he signed. The way I found out about Cristiano Ronaldo's signing was on the old where you had to log in the internet. Yahoo opens up and on the sports tab as Ronaldo given the number 7 shirt at Manchester United. So I thought it was R9. Ronaldo signed for Manchester United. Obviously, you click on it. It's Cristiano Ronaldo. That wasn't really a thing.
yeah.
But going back to the original topic, and I don't want to bring it back, it's luck. Okay, obviously you do need an element of luck, but I don't want to say it's all down to luck. But Adam, if you were to bring up the list of the strikers over the sort of the last 10-year period, the ones we would say are successful, I would hazard a guess they hit ground running with something on their debut. Wayne Rooney,
That's
hat-trick.
it there.
Marcus Rashford, debut on his double. Double on his debut. And I just think Zlatan scored away at Bournemouth.
Did Martial score Liverpool on his debut?
Yeah, on his debut in front of Stretford. And Lukaku, I think, scored a double against West Ham potentially. And I just think they hit. There's something there. There's a feel-good factor to get them going. A striker comes in now, and they don't score on their debut.
Why
through no fault of their
did
own.
Lukaku leave?
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I think the Fellaini and Lukaku was in a very. I felt Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wanted that Martial, and I think he wanted better footballers. So my thinking was he wanted a Rashford or a Martial through the middle.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if there was an issue with him and Pogba or something like that, but I couldn't remember.
I actually
Yeah.
saw social media was a big part of that one as well. It was a huge part of Lukaku leaving.
But I
They
think
used to give him
Lukaku,
heaps, man.
like I don't know if this is actually true, but say for example, he's gone to Italy and played for 3 clubs in Italy already.
Mm.
He's played for Inter Milan, won everything there, went to Roma, and now he's at Napoli. Like he is that type of player that he's like almost like the Conte of managers. Like he goes to a club 2 years, scores a shitload of goals, moves on.
Or
It's
West
weird
Brom,
one.
Chelsea, United.
He's the
Everton.
footballer. If you accumulate all his transfer fees, he works out to be the most expensive footballer of all time in regards to transfer fees.
Is that really a thing?
Yeah. I'll put one up for you. But Dino and I were going up through this in short. It's net spend versus goals, right? Net spend versus goals. So we've got Martial, right? 58 million he cost us. He scored 90 goals. It's 600. What did we say? 600,000 per goal.
Yeah.
Lukaku 75 million, 42 goals, 1.78 million per goal. Not bad. Zlatan on a free, 29 goals. Cavani on a free, 19 goals. Ronaldo, 12 million, 27 goals, 440 grand. Falcao, 6 million loan, goals for 1.5 mil. So
If I ever wanted a
interesting stats
striker,
out there.
if I ever wanted someone to succeed as a Manchester United number 9, it was Falcao. My
Falcao.
God,
Mate.
Yeah.
you talk about a great
Loved him.
striker. And
The
if
three
he hit the running,
three
there would
Ricos.
have been a statue. There would have been
Yeah.
a statue of him. He was just,
Dude,
he was an incredible striker. Just
the day
his
he
knees were
signed,
just-
I
Oh,
went and ordered the long sleeve white
Of
away
course you
kit
did.
with Falcao on the back, and I was wearing that everywhere. Like everywhere.
But this is United. I'm pretty sure we signed him after a knee reconstruction, and he hadn't even played for the team. So
Yeah, he was
This
at
is the
Atletico
whole
and he didn't
point.
even play.
this is the whole point of the future and stuff like that. Everything's just for the now, and unfortunately, like
that was the definition. That was a deadline
Yeah.
day signing as well as the
Yeah.
definition of a panic.
yeah,
Now, this is where where I was talking before about Ed Woodward. And I mean, Richard Arnold at the moment, he's getting away with it because he's only just come in. But Ed Woodward, Richard Arnold. Who we got now? Omar Barada now. So Omar's getting away with it at the moment. But I tell you what, if Šeško doesn't start, it's hard to put it because I don't believe. Do you believe? Here's the question: look, we've just clicked over an hour. So what do you call it? Is Šeško, even though Omar and Amarin brought in Šeško,
I don't think they did. Christian
Well, who-
Vavell brought him in. Vavell brought him in. The sporting director, because he worked with them at Red Bull.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
I
that's
didn't know that.
That's my opinion.
That's
That's why we didn't get Watkins. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
Ruben wanted Watkins, but because Vavell is sporting director, he got Šeško in.
Well, this was about to be my point. So Šeško doesn't really suit Amarin's system, so we've just got another striker in that doesn't suit anything.
Yep.
But that's what a sporting director is meant for, isn't it? Isn't the sporting director meant to look over the next 5 to 10 years and not just the now? So that's the other issue, is that you got a sporting director who's not on the same page as, say, the rest of the club.
Yeah, it's the tricky situation, and it's where, look, I look at the way football has gone tonight with financials. I fully understand the need and the need for a structure and the need for a plan, of course. I'm not disrespecting that idea. And I understand the full risk of giving a manager 100% control and power. I understand it's risky. I'm a Manchester United fan. That's how I saw success. I saw Sir Alex Ferguson run a football club, and it worked okay for me. I'm fully aware of the risk of doing that now. That is where I do. If I'm a manager, if I'm sitting there and I replace Ruben Amorim tomorrow, and I have my plan, okay, I want this striker. I know the way I want to play football. If I get him in, I know what I'll do. I know my instructions. I think he'll succeed. Well, that's right. I don't like him. I don't even get on with him, let alone think he's a good player. What do you mean? When Sir Alex Ferguson signing a player, he's not just signing the footballer. He's going to his house and sort of what's he like as a person. Imagine showing up to work each day and you don't like the players, or the players don't like you. It's not going to work. But if someone else is signing the players, we're signing. He's a great footballer. He's a dickhead. You're not really going to like him. He's going to cause a lot of problems. But the XG says he's going to be really good. You're going to have to get on with these players. And I just think that is where I look at a manager. And it just, in my view, the way I view it, they need to be the one signing the players, because they're the ones
Look at
working.
Chelsea. Look at Chelsea right now, like with Maresca, like perfect example. Had no say. The problem is with that, you get like Eric Ten Hag and those sort of guys.
It's risky.
Players,
It's risky. Yeah.
You know, signing a player for 5 years, that's the risk. You know, if you're going to go down your way of giving manager power, you sign players for 3 years. But then, do they come to United for 3 years? That's the other issue.
Yeah, 100%.
I've just got one here for Jordan.
I've already read it. No, it's fucking a joke.
I want you to read it out, Jordan. I really want you to read it out.
Listen to this. This is coming from. Don't mean to be rude to him. Clearly, he never watched Šeško play last season.
United lens. I'm calling you out here, mate. Seriously.
Šeško isn't
the
a
second
striker.
time.
He's a number 10 being played out of position. He does understand that Xavi Simons, that plays for Tottenham, was the number 10 for Leipzig last year, where Šeško was an out-and-out number 9 by himself. Oh,
mate,
you want to get on TikTok,
Šeško's
mate.
a 10 would be worse than Šeško's a 9. Jeez.
Šeško doesn't have the ball playing ability to be anywhere but inside the box.
He's got that off the mark pace, mate. Like that, and that's what you got. Ruben literally has to sit there and go, okay, this is our only striker. How do we get the best out of him?
Yeah.
And it's early balls. It's early balls. Like,
Well, here's a question for you. How many goals would you say for Šeško, for someone that you've spent, was it 60, 70 million on, to have a good first season? Like, what would you be happy with? Because I heard someone say the other day that they'd be happy with Gyökeres to hit 10 goals, and he cost them 75 million or something.
mate, Šeško at 22, realistically, 9 goals, I reckon.
I was thinking 12 in all competitions.
Yeah.
See, look, I don't disagree in
The
regards
problem
to
is there's
reality.
no other striker, so you want to say 20. That's the problem.
Yeah.
You mentioned 20, and in reality, you look at those 9, 10 goals, however you want to weigh them up in Premier League or all competitions. But let's say you're looking at 9 to 12 goals and you think, yeah, okay, that's okay. Well, we can build on that. In reality, I'm sorry, if a striker comes in and it's not scoring 20, 25 goals, they're going to fail.
Yeah. Because everyone thinks every striker is Haaland. That's the issue.
Yeah. They're going to need 20 goals to have a platform. As I go back, what did Rasmus Højlund score in his first season? That wasn't good enough. Would kill for Šeško to score that this year.
Yeah.
But see, I also think
my biggest problem?
Cunha, Bruno, and Brian, got double figures this season. I think the pressure on Šeško wouldn't be as much.
Yeah.
Well, I expect Cunha to get 10. I expect Mbeumo to get 10, and I expect Šeško to get 10. I think you should get 30 goals from your front three, no question of a doubt. I think that's a minimum.
I actually think Brian and Cunha should be getting more because they've actually played in the Premier League.
Yeah, I agree. But I'm
Yeah,
saying
that's the
30
other
across
one
the
is,
front three should be a minimum.
But that's another thing is like, sign a player with Premier League experience to, a player coming from Germany. And as Jordan knows, it's a complete different world. So I think you have to add that into when you do sign a player is that it's going to take time if they're coming from a foreign league compared to a Cunha or a Brian that's come already from there. So
does that not go further on your point, though, of having a striker that's experienced in the Premier League to learn off for training, like Chris Wood?
Yeah. We're signing Marteta tomorrow. You watch.
Oliver Glasner will resign now if we got him over the line, I reckon.
But
He wouldn't
this
wait
is
till the
another thing.
season.
I got to say this. So, Semenyo is a great player. Don't get me wrong. But is he what we need right this minute? Like, why were we?
Where does he play?
That's what I'm saying. So we need a midfielder. We need strikers, but Semenyo would be good. That's where I get so we've obviously got money there to spend. Why aren't we spending it on a central midfielder or another striker? I don't get it.
But this is where I was talking about our board. At the end of the day, the whole situation comes back to our board, doesn't it? At the end of the day. Because Ruben can't take control.
It's the whole club.
It's the whole club, but it's the board from the Glazers to Ineos. It comes to, at the end of the day, it comes back to them.
You're right.
But they don't get sacked. That's the problem.
Look, I agree, and no one's right or wrong. I think it's predominantly more right in regards to that. My dog's just having a little bit of a fit. He'll be right. But you talk about the fan perception, though, in regards to, the club's to blame. I agree 100%. The pressure, we can't control the media. Well, maybe there are elements of how we influence what the media, how they behave, but really we can't control what the club do. We can't control what the media do. I'm not saying that in those TikTok comments. That's a fan in general. That's us fans. If you can collect us as one, that's our behaviour, and we just don't help. We just don't help. And I just
I'll
think
counter that.
No, we don't.
I'll counter that. And how many social media posters the club put up with these players, and how many does that affect? Because I'm sure a few years ago there was a quota with players had to do a certain amount of social media as part of their contract. So the club is an issue as well with the fact that they throw these players out because they want to make money commercially. So, it all goes in a big circle, really.
Oh, yeah, it's a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
All
Sanchez coming playing the piano and stuff like that. The pressure was on him before he even got on the pitch.
Mate, Juan Mata came in a helicopter. So
Exactly.
all right, boys, let's wind it up there. Thank you guys for coming on.
Or what?
Mate, we can leave that for another. The game's not until Sunday, so if you want to do one tomorrow night or something like that, we can talk about Leeds if you want. You can talk about Leeds. I always like to wait for Ruben's press conference to see what's in that, and then we'll jump on. How about that?
Did you watch City game this morning, Jordan?
Yeah, I did.
Did you see Haaland pick the ball up at halfway and passed it, and it went completely out, and the commentator goes, "Well, that's not
his game."
Haaland's
So when that happened, I was about to start screen record. I film it on my phone and put it in the group chat and go,
Yeah.
all playing striker like Šeško.
Yeah.
Mate, because what's his name? Cherky? Was making that inside run.
Cherky,
Was making the inside run.
Yeah,
Haaland
it was
just goes right foot.
Yeah.
Haaland was very quiet today, actually. Sunderland looked amazing.
How hungry were they?
How good is Granit Xhaka?
It's weird. When I was watching that match, I thought, Sunderland are good, and they look to be deserving of where they are on the table. They're having a good season. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't that our easiest game this season, Sunderland?
Yeah.
I thought they just sort of turned up and wiped them up. It looked like Sunderland should be.
They got the most consecutive wins at home as a promote team since donkey's years.
I'm pretty
it's
sure
crazy.
they're the only team to beat them at home this season, other than I think maybe Bournemouth beat them 1-0.
But usually when we win a game, it's on a knife edge. It's like 4-3. It's drama. It was just straightforward 2-0. I'm pretty sure it was 2-0.
And it was comfortable too.
Yeah, comfortable.
I'm not comfortable sitting on this stool, I'll tell you right now.
That's one. That's one, mate. When I get up there, Dino, I'm going to set you up a little room for the podcast. Let me tell you,
Mate, this is your bedroom, mate. So
yeah, I know. I'll be up there soon. Another week, I'll be up there. So, all right. Thank you guys for coming on. We had a lot of viewers on TikTok, which was great. Even though the fella there was a little bit how you going on his comments, but you do see a lot of shit going on down there. But thank you, boys, for coming on. We're going to do a fan reaction after the Leeds game, but Dino obviously wants to get on, and we'll have a talk about the Leeds game after. I think Ruben's press conference will probably be overnight. So if you want Dino, we're all up early. We can jump on and talk about his press conference and stuff like that. So we can just do like a random pod. Just switch on and go for it. Oh yeah. Oh mate.
Fucking hell, my fantasy did bad this week, boys. I just had to look at it.
Save it, will you?
I had my whole defense didn't play, I think.
Yeah. Mate.
All right. Anyway, I'll let you two gibber offline while I shut this off. So
I got to play golf.
I will replay this. We will replay this on TikTok and probably YouTube later on tonight. So I'll talk to you later. So to anyone that's there, make sure you like, share, subscribe.
Just wrap it up, mate.
All right. See you later.